All right, what's up, guys? So I know I said I was gonna make some more videos. I'm a busy man though, and it's pretty hard to make videos and edit them and find time for all this stuff. But I do have a few on standby. I got to finish editing and get some more of those posted up. But I thought today would be a really good day to show you how your motorcycle's charging system works, lay out the components for you, tell you what they do, how to test them when they fail, and things like that. Now this is going to cover any motorcycle that has a 3-phase charging system, which is going to be 95% of the motorcycles that are on the road. So let's dive right into it. We'll start with the battery. I'm sure you guys know what this is. This is what stores all the power for the motorcycle, right? So it's going to power your headlights, it's going to allow you to start the bike, run the bike, all these things. For this to continue working like it's supposed to while you're riding the bike, you have to have this system to keep it charged, right? So we'll start from left to right. This is a magneto or a flywheel, whatever you call it. That's what it is. It's a big old chunk of metal, and it's got magnets in it. This flywheel spins around this, which is called the stator, which is also another big chunk of metal that some really smart guy put a bunch of copper coils around and another magnetic piece here. And as this spins around your stator, it creates an AC current. Well, your bike can't run on AC current. It's got to be DC to go back to your battery, so that's where this little guy comes into play. This is called a regulator rectifier. This is going to convert that AC current to DC current and recharge your battery. So now that we know what each component is, I'm going to show you how to test them. Also, just wanted to include this little guy right here, just in case people see it or understand it better in writing rather than seeing the physical parts. This is a very rough sketch of what your charging system does. So let's say you're out riding your bike one day, everything's all fine and dandy, and you're just having the time of your life, and you shut the bike off, and then you go to turn it back on, and you hear bzz, bzz, or your bike is turning over real slow, or it just sounds like the battery's dead. Well, it's possible that it could be any one of these 4 components. You always want to start simple with your testing. You are going to want to fully recharge the battery, make sure that it's fully charged, and then start by testing this. So to test this, you're going to need a load tester. We'll put you back up here. You're going to need a load tester, such as this. Or you can take it to, if you don't want to buy the tool, take it to a parts store or your local motorcycle, your local motorcycle shop. Words are hard. And have them test it. And pretty much what you'll do here, it'll tell you the voltage, okay. You put the type, blah, blah, blah. Capacity, you're going to put the capacity. This is a 30 amp hour battery. So we will put it to 30 amp hours and test it. Good and pass. All right, so we know we have a fully charged battery. If yours says bad and replace, start by replacing the battery, because that could be all it is. Now, again, I like to keep things simple whenever I'm testing them. So before I dive into anything, I'll check the condition of the wiring. This plug here can be a common failure point as well on some bikes if they have aftermarket charging systems. The pins, let's see if I can get you where you can see this, the pins inside of here may be loose fitting, or this plug could be melted. You're still going to have to test these components, but I have seen before where the wiring or the plug fails and it won't recharge the battery. So before we get into testing this, I'm going to show you what it should do whenever you have your multimeter. You're going to need one of these to test your charging system. I'll show you the very first step you're going to take if you know that the battery is good and you're still not getting appropriate voltage. Start over here. All right, so I'm going to show you on my Grom here what we need to do. So first thing, you're going to need a meter. You're going to put your red to red, black to black, and we'll see what our voltage is. We're going to put it to volts direct current. It's going to be the one with the straight lines, not the one with the squiggly line. So we'll see where we're at. We're at 13.2. We know our battery's full. Cycle our key on, see how much it drops, and then we'll start our motorcycle. Watch it go up. really hard to keep my phone steady in there. But one thing that you should have noticed with that is that the reading you were getting on the meter was higher than the battery voltage while it was just sitting there. So typically, whenever you hook that up and you run your bike and it runs for about 10 seconds and you rev it, you should be anywhere between 13.5 to 14.5 volts. If you're not, you've got an issue. So if you're at 12 volts or 11 or 10 or 9 or lower, it's not charging. It's also possible that it could be overcharging if you have a faulty regulator rectifier. I've seen bikes charging as high as 16 volts before, which that will mess up your battery big time. It'll make that thing swell up, can make it pop open. No good. It was no good. So again, it is possible you can be undercharging or overcharging. Both will have the same effect. They will kill your battery. So if you're getting a reading that's not 13.5 to 14.5, somewhere in that ballpark, you've got to start testing your components to see what's wrong. So I'm going to set you up a little bit closer here so that I can show you how to do that. The only real test for this is going to be an AC voltage test, which you'll test through the stator plug. And other than that, it's going to be visual. These magnets can fall off, can cause a bunch of damage. So it's pretty unlikely for these to fail unless you have like a 2004 to 2008 R1. Really 04 to 06 R1 was the main years. Those do have bad flywheels, but most motorcycles, these are pretty good, pretty reliable. A lot of times this is not going to be your issue. Although it's unlikely, it is still possible. A lot of the times it's going to be one of these two items. And again, you're going to want to check your wiring and stuff too, because it is possible that you have a loose connection inside of this plug. It could be rattling around if this plug's melted. A lot of the times if the plug is already melted, it's already past the point of just that being the issue. Most of the time one of these two components will have failed, but I have in a few rare cases seen where it was just faulty wiring or a faulty plug. But we will start with the easier thing to test here, which is going to be the stator. Pretty simple test. You'll do this with it still mounted in the bike. You don't have to take it out to test it. I'm just showing you here because I've got it out and it's easy to show you. So first things first, we will remove these alligator clips. We don't need these where we're going. So the first test that we will do with it still on the bike, you're going to want to do an AC voltage test. So you'll put your meter to volts AC, and you'll come in here and you'll probe each phase of this. So you'll do red in one, black in the other, and with the motorcycle running, you should get a reading, an AC reading of somewhere between 20 volts AC at idle, and it can go up to 80 or 90 volts AC whenever you rev it. Unfortunately, I can't show you that test right now because I have the stator out of the bike, but you do need to check that and make sure that's working. The next test that you'll do, you'll put your meter in the ohms position, which is going to be that guy right there, and you're going to come over here and do the same thing. You'll test across each phase of this, and you should get a reading of somewhere between 0.5 to maybe 1.2, somewhere in there, just depending on your model. You should get that across all three phases. So you'll take your black probe out here, put it in the next one, and then you'll take your red probe, put it into this one. So you're testing across all three of them. Again, you should get a reading of somewhere between 0.5 to 1.2. Depends on the bike you have. Check with your service manual or check on some forums and stuff like that. If it passes that, okay. There is one more test you have to do. So you'll take your red probe here, put it in that first terminal, and then with it still mounted in the bike, you can take your black terminal and put it to the ground side of the battery. If you get a reading of OL, perfect. You want to get that across all three of these. You want it to say OL. If you happen to get a reading, it means that your stator is shorted to ground. which is no good. That would mean you have a bad stator. If it does pass all of those tests, perfect. Your stator is in good shape. Moving on to the regulator. This one is certainly much more tricky to test. So try to get you where you can see me here nice and clear. This one is going to be much more tricky to test. Basically there's diodes inside of this regulator, so power should only go through it one way. All right. Now there are some visual tests that you can do on this as well. If you pull your regulator off and if it's gotten really hot and it's melted back here, okay, well then you know that this thing is more than likely shot. But what we'll do first, you'll notice that we've got 3 black wires. Now, depending on what regulator you have, these may be yellow, these may be white, but you're gonna have 3 of them that are the same color. Then you're gonna have a wire with red on it, and then you're gonna have a wire that's black, or it may have white on it. Basically, all this is, these are the wires that are getting the current from your stator. This is going back to the positive side of the battery, and this is going back to the negative side of the battery. So to test them, again, I'm gonna try to explain this the best that I can. I'm not a very good teacher though, okay, but I'm gonna try. Hopefully you can see this. We're gonna take our meter and we're gonna make sure that it's set in the diode setting, as you can see there. And we're gonna make sure that current doesn't bleed back through the other way. Because with a diode, voltage should only go one way. So we're gonna take our black here, we're gonna hook it up to the wire with the red on it, and then we should get a similar reading. I'm sure you can see that. We should get the same reading across all 3 of these wires, which on this one, we are not. You see we've got one that is 0.702 volts, 701, and then across these 2, we've got 0.220. It means we've got something going on inside of there. And then we want to put it to this one too. We should not get a reading. We're getting 0.701, which means that we've got an issue somewhere inside of this phase with the regulator. I was hoping I wouldn't find that quick, but I did. So anyways, let's assume that it passes that. Well, then you'll take your terminal off of the red wire that you had and then put it onto the black one. Check our reading here. 1.408, 1.408, and then nothing. So we should get the same reading across all 3 of these. What I'll do now, well, we already know that this one's bad, but I'll show you what happens when we flip these. Get a reading of 562, 560, that's pretty close, and then I'm going to assume on this one it's going to be way off, 0.0006. So obviously we're getting some pretty hectic readings with this, so that's one way that we can tell if this is bad. Now some people will just test those other components, right? If your battery's good, if your stator's good, if your plugs are good, and your wiring's good, I guess you could assume that this is bad, but I like to test everything, and that's kind of just how you can test it. So I can't really show you how to replace them in this video, so kind of use your best judgment. You know, if you're not much of a mechanic, maybe you shouldn't be messing around in your motorcycle, you know what I'm saying? But share some information there at least, that way that more people can be a little more self-sufficient with their motorcycles. So hopefully this helps somebody, and I'm gonna have some more videos coming soon. I got some progress that I made on that CRF engine that we rebuilt, or that we're rebuilding, and I also have been editing that video with the Road King, doing some handlebar installs on a Harley touring motorcycle. Video's so long though, it takes so long to edit. So I'm almost done though, almost done. So hopefully before too long I'll get that one posted up. But hey, hopefully this helped you guys, and now you should almost know how motorcycle charging systems work. Again, I'm not much of a teacher, but I'm trying out here. So thanks for watching.